Hello, I'm the official name raider. My job is to look through the first page of Google, review the nicknames provided by the internet, and then give my recommendations at the end. Today we're going to figure out if robots dream, is it androids or robots? Dream of electric sheep? By going over Mareep, Flaafy, and Amphoros? That's what the Pokemon's based off of, that line. Alright, mark it on your bingo cards. Jewel, generic electric type nickname. There you go, not much to say about it. So I guess I'll acknowledge this one just because the Mega Evolution, and I can totally see lots of jokes about how it looks fabulous when it Mega Evolves and stuff. So I'll acknowledge that just for the sake of it, because I imagine we're probably gonna be something else like L'Oreal or whatever. And I've thought about many times taking a screen cap and being like me when I get out of the shower or something like that. I don't know, but that's the joke that a lot of people make. Tesla, there's another one for the bingo card. The most common generic nickname, period, next to Neptune. Everyone uses it. I don't care about it. You can find it on just about every single electric type nickname video I've ever done. So there you go. There's another joke about its mega form and how fabulous it looks. Astrology's totally fine. Roman gods, totally fine. Greek gods, blah blah blah. Jupiter, it works. Not really much to say about it. It's pretty common. Amphi, I don't like as a nickname, but that's what Jasmine calls the Amphoros inside the lighthouse. So if you want to do that, that works. In general, I don't like it as a nickname, but bad nicknames get a pass if it's something the actual creators came up with, because then you could be like, oh, remember that thing that happened in the game? Then you could do that at very least. We've seen Beacon before on Lantern. A lot of the stuff Lantern could really be applicable to Amphoros as well, because there's a lot of light jokes, and Amphoros is kind of associated with a lighthouse for obvious reasons. Do I care about it? Not overly, but it exists. I'm not sure how I feel about Lightmare, but it was different enough to get my attention, so I'm going to acknowledge it, and that's about it. At least you tried. I can also acknowledge this one for the Back to the Future reference, and that's about it. I don't really have an opinion on it, but in case that appeals to you, there you go. I'm actually surprised there's so many nicknames on Amphoros. I didn't expect it. Edison, we've only ever seen it one other time, and I believe it was for Lantern, so again, it's definitely different from Tesla at very least. Do I care about it? Not overly, but it exists. If we haven't seen Ohm before, I'm surprised. I feel like we have. It's one that, again, I think you could apply to any generic electric type Pokemon. It fits, blah blah blah, not much to say about it. So acknowledging it just in case I never have, but I feel like I have. I feel like Flaffy Taffy is probably going to be one that most people are going to think of as well. It's kind of just on the nose and irrelevant the second it evolves. Okay, we can acknowledge Mutton. I said button. Because we see lots of jokes like chicken wings or something along those lines, so it's only fair to make a sheep joke in there. You could do mutton or lamb chop. I've also seen Mary, as in Mary had a little lamb. Didn't feel the need to acknowledge that one, because although it is very obvious, and I think most people would probably get it, it's still just any other person's name, and on its own doesn't stand out. But there's a 3 there for you, I guess. Alright, so Bo Peep is, I think that'll be a better alternative than Mary Had a Little Lamb, because Bo Peep is one name that's only ever going to be associated with a sheep, and that's it. So that one is much easier to get away with. Or Bro Peep, I guess, if your Mareep is a guy and you care that much. Oh, okay. I had to think for a minute. I was like, what Thunder Dragon? I forgot Skyward Sword had dragons in it. You know how long it's been since I've played Skyward Sword? Release date. That was a long time ago. Yeah, okay. We've seen the gods of Zelda appear lots and lots and lots of times. I think it works best if you have them all paired together in some sort of trinity, like the starters, for instance, if you picked one of those. I think we even had the idea of the dragons from Black and White, and then I think there was also just the legendary birds. They work if you want to pair them together, but like you could just do whatever you want as well. But you know, always name them after them is good, or some variation, because there's also, when he said dragon, I was busy thinking of Farouche, and then eventually I remembered. Okay, so let's go ahead and, disintegrate Dravolt from the beginning. Firstly, it's only temporarily a dragon type, and it's a very circumstantial case. And also, this is kind of funny because I believe one of the fossils in Gen 8 is Dracovolt, if I remember that correctly. So it's kind of funny because it's, now that name becomes extra irrelevant. Electra and Electro, those are boring, but I mean, Spider-Man has a bad guy called Electro, and then Electra is just a female variant. So that exists. Soft Shock, I don't really care for. Mr. Light, I think if you wanted to do Dr. Light, like we saw in the Lantern episode, that works better. Aftershock, I don't hate. Isn't Aftershock typically associated with, like, earthquakes, though? The answer is yes, but apparently it's also some sort of concert happening, probably no longer happening thanks to coronavirus, featuring, like, Metallica and My Chemical Romance. That's what Google says. I guess Aftershock could maybe work for a ground type. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it. It exists, I guess. Okay, so the only one out of these that I really kind of want to acknowledge is just XStatic, because that's stupid, but I admire the wordplay that you tried to go for on that. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Amphoros has the ability of static, so I remember seeing this, I think it was for Raichu, Zap Tap, which I liked, and I was like, yeah, save it for an electric type that has static ability. And there hasn't been many instances where we've brought that up since, but I do stand by that idea. I also kind of want to just make fun of Lampadina for sounding incredibly stupid, and then Zuko for not being relevant to Zuko at all. Okay, that was the bottom of the page. We've seen a lot of nicknames, and most of them I'm going to say are okay. Not like offensively bad or anything, so we'll finish up, check the spreadsheet, see if there's anything that can wow me. Jasmine, that could work. You could get away with that for both Steelix and Amphi, I guess. Amphoros. I think Amphi is a better idea than Jasmine, but I guess if you just prefer that, people might assume the two together. Or Olivine, if you want. Again, same logic. I don't really care for it. I still think Amphi is the better option, but yeah. Other words, that's it. None of them really wowed me to the point. I think the best that we saw, honestly, was just Bo Peep. I like just Bo Peep. That one's, it works, it's obvious. There you go. Better option than Mary. Amphi is a terrible name, but I think it's a better idea than Olivine or Jasmine, so those are the two that I found best. There's a lot of suggestions, and that actually surprised me. I didn't expect that much. Most of them are okay. I don't really have too much negative to say, so there's that. The one I personally use that I know nobody else is going to because this is a very personal thing, kind of like Farfetched, one of my friends, I named my Amphoros Mareep after one of my friends because for when we talk on Skype or anywhere else, she would have a profile picture of a Mareep and her username Sam So Cool. So I just name it after her username because I just associate Mareep with her, and then I can make jokes and talk about how she sucks and is letting the team down or something like that. But that's not anything I expect anyone else to do, so Amphi and Bo Peep are probably the next best. So if you got any other ideas or suggestions, put them in the comments below. Give a thumbs up to anything that's good, and let's keep the discussion going.